We have both. We have some properties that we have logged, but never clear cut.
Mhm.
And that money has gone into our operating budget. We have a major forest parcel, which is Tom Woods Preserve.
Yep.
Which is about 550 acres, about 6 different parcels. And that one is not cut, except we've had witch hazel cut, but that was most of the conservation easements when they were written, or when the grant was written, were for protecting interior forests that don't have any roads going through them. So it was kind of to protect a large cluster of forest. And that's one thing that I would like to have put. I would like to have that as a part of the greenway system, and the either national or state
Mhm.
or regional. But I have not pursued putting it onto that registry list. But there are other forests like in Pasco and all that. This is a fantastic area. It's connected to the greenway system that goes through Connecticut
Oh, okay.
and all the way up to the Massachusetts.
And what would be the benefit, Linda?
The benefit is that it protects the forest
Okay.
even more from being used for something other than forest.
Okay. I think, did you?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's true too. And
Yeah.
it currently, because of a drought and the gypsy moths, and then another insect that got into those oak trees, we have a different forest than we used to have. We've lost a lot of top cover, so we've got a lot of new growth and different growth and invasives, which we also can get grants to help remove invasives. They'll be the first things to come up after the top growth dies.
Okay.
And so I don't know if I answered a question or not.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I know that
Yeah.
many people are in the forestry program.
Right,
They get a tax
right.
credit, or
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how
Our
it works.
major forest lands are protected by conservation easements held by the
Okay.
state.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or concerns that you want to bring up from the council as far as what we're looking for as a charter change?
Now, Kelly, you have an analysis of how much the land trust has received in tax stamps over, say, the past 5 years? I know it varies. It varies a lot year to year.
Tax stamps being the conservation easement, the conveyance tax.
The conveyance tax, yes.
I have some of that data.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Do you have a specific question on
just
that?
like the last 5 years, what you've
I
received.
don't
from-
have it
Oh, okay.
done exactly that way.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you have?
So in 2020, it was 50, close to 51.
Thank you.
In 2020, it was about 51,000. In 2021, 74,000. 2022, 60,000. 2023, 70,100. And currently, this year to date, that's just as of March. I haven't added April, which is about, I think, 3,000 or so. I'm not sure. So if I added April, it'd be about 47,000. Without the next 2, we have 2 more months to go for that.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry, 43.6, and I think April was like another 3,000 something. I have to look.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just wanted like a ballpark, but I would assume that that's going to increase greatly now with the prices of homes going.
It changes
so
every month. So
Yeah.
like looking at this year's, some months they've received 7,000, almost 8,000. I can't read. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm not getting any younger. July, they received 7,700, close to 77. August, it was a little over 62. September, 38. So the lowest was say 22.52 in December, which because it's
It's the
December.
winter, yeah.
And the highest for the months so
Mhm.
far have been 77, 76, 89. So it changes every month.
Mhm.
The spring is a little heavier, the winter is a little slower. you
Right.
know.
But would you expect, just based on the market now, that this is gonna increase substantially?
That's probably why they received 70,000 last year, because the market is.
Right, and now it's even
They
higher.
haven't received less than 50 in several years, yeah.
Mm,
May I add a comment? It also depends on the houses being sold or built. here
No,
in
that's what I'm
town,
talking, that's what I'm
so
talking about.
that's-
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
talking-
fluctuates.
It's
It
going to
does.
fluctuate. And also, like, the lowest we've gotten, there've been years at the very beginning where $900 was the maximum we
I think
received
those
that
days
year.
are gone, Linda. I
Those
think the
days are
price
gone
of house-
forever, but
price
I
of
don't,
Houses now are.
I don't think between 40 and 70,000 is going to stay either. I could think it depends.
And Linda,
We haven't had less than
Though-
40. and
Yeah.
I
though,
can't remember.
you know, in an effort to just paint a big picture,
Right.
we're moving forward as a town. We have
Yes.
plans to grow and move forward. So if that expectation is met, then we'll lose even greater amounts of revenue.
Mm.
Because that'll all be deferred to you, to the preservation or the
No,
committee.
correct.
So we're
Lentils.
looking at,
David.
Yeah.
No,
It's
No,
on-
I'm-
Oh, yours is, oh, I thought, I'm looking at the other
we're
one, sorry,
looking- We're looking at accelerating,
sorry.
sure, it's good.
we're trying to relieve some burden on the residents in the tax levy.
I
And
understand that.
the expectation Heidi's talking about is if we're gonna move forward and ramp things up and try to really get a handle on bringing in new blood into town and businesses and residents, then it'll even be a greater substantial loss in revenue for the town.
Yeah.
So my concern is, I think the committee does a great job. Goes without saying. But to continue on and expect growth and change, we need to change what we've done in the past. I don't think we need to really capture much more. I mean, we can't control who wills and deeds property
Right.
that have passed away. We know that happens. There are very generous donors. But we have to go under the expectation that if we truly want to bring this town into a better position financially to survive, we cannot continue the way we've been going. And that includes everything. That's my concern.
Right. I'm not arguing what you have to do. I know what the town has to do. I just wanted to make the point that it does fluctuate
Mhm.
and there's never a guarantee. There
Mhm.
isn't even a guarantee that we would always get a conveyance tax return from the state. The state could say, hey, we don't have enough money and I'm taking it away.
That's why, Linda, I was
Yeah.
wondering if having like an operating budget for you would be a safer bet, because if there was a year that was low and it's budgeted through the town, you're at least guaranteed to get that. Like say it went way down.
I would say the way town councils come and go, I don't feel that that's necessarily the safest way to go, but that's just my opinion. It is not land trust opinion.
Linda, what would you think, knowing that this is probably gonna happen, would be,
Well, it's not necessarily, it'll be on the.
I said
ballot.
probably.
It'll be
Yeah.
on the ballot.
Did-
and it's
well,
up to the
yes.
people.
What?
Did-
would you-
I can't say right now. I'd like to take back all of your suggestions
Mhm.
to the land trust and confer with them, because my opinion would be combined with the opinion of the rest of the members of the land trust. I think it would be unfair for me to state what I
Right.
think is good.
Okay,
Just saying that operating budgets are going to change. We're now kind of at the stage where we have to hire out to get a lot of the trail work done now. We can't do it ourselves. And we have some major work to do on one property that has a dam.
Mhm.
So that's going to take a lot of money, but we have money because we've been getting so much money.
Hmm.
We do
Right.
have money saved, so I'm not concerned at all about what we have to do with these properties, just in the future.
I know you, so the operating budget, I guess this would be a Kelly question. If they don't use it,
It would,
go back to general fund.
unless we had a
Oh,
resolution like
Is
we
there
had
something,
at
well,
the-
that's what I'm wondering, is
Right.
there something that we
So-
could say they could, because you're right, you have to have the matching funds
Mhm.
for grants. You have an account now, and we're not looking to take money from that
Oh,
account.
yeah.
We're just looking forward,
Right.
so you have that, but an
So-
operating fund, would that be something that could be done?
Well, if you think about it, we have a couple of accounts that we do that with. During our financial town meeting, part of the reason the meeting ends and we go on and on and on with the resolutions is
Yeah.
because we do some of those types of things for
Yeah.
for accounts that we've determined should be like that. One is the reval,
Mhm.
the revaluation account that's in my finance budget. We budget a
Roll
certain
it
amount each year and we roll it over into fund balance so that we don't, it levels off our funding for the revaluation of our assessed property, because it ranges between 50,000 and 120,000. But we don't fund it, we don't pay for it every year. We only have it every 3 years. So in order to level fund that, that's what we do. We do it also for contingency. We have money left over in contingency.
Right.
I now, with a resolution at the end of the year during the financial town meeting, ask the taxpayers to reserve the unspent money in contingency for future contingencies that
Yeah.
might come up,
Mhm.
legal, unemployment, and like whatever might come up. So there's that.
Hmm.
And they all also have their fund balance. I just want to point out for reference, I just looked it up. So their fund balance was about 490, and I'm taking out the portion of their fund balance because they have a different method of accounting.
They as in.
The land trust.
Okay,
Has a different method of accounting than we do. So
Yes.
they're in their fund balance, which will look like it's like 2,700,000. It includes their land and their capital assets, where ours doesn't in the government-wide statement and the governmental statements.
Mhm.
So if you were to exclude all of that, their fund balance is about $500,000, and they stand to probably increase that by about $50,000 this year. So they have about $550,000. That said, for reference, the town as a whole, their 10% foster reserve fund is about $1.5 million. So you're looking at an arm of the town having over $500,000 in fund balance, and the entire town
Mm,
having a 1.5 that's required by charter.
right.
That's 33% fund of their fund balance as opposed to our
Mhm.
fund balance and reference. So
Hmm.
how you look at that, and again, they are doing things with it. Now they have a major problem
Right,
with one of their projects. Hopefully they can get financial assistance through the state for that, but it's a
so
reference.
if we
standpoint.
did look at.
May I
ahead.
also add that the land trust is a different organization than, say, library or recreation
No,
department, because we do have to buy our own insurance. We have to pay for our own
Mhm.
attorneys.
Well,
Yeah.
they do as well.
Yeah.
The library.
The library-
does,
the library
fire
does have
Fire
to use-
companies,
correct.
they all do.
But,
So-
but not as if you were just giving us a budget.
Mhm.
You'd have to, I mean, it would be a lot right now. Right now, we are secure enough to cover the costs that
Mhm.
it's going to be for this.
Right.
Well,
dam.
For the dam.
So-
Not the town would have to pay for it. and
Right,
We'll be able to
it's
cover this
something we have to
without,
weigh,
right,
right, it's
without
something we have to
doing
weigh.
anything else.
And my
Right.
concern is, would we be setting a precedence if we say, okay, they can roll over their operating funds?
Right.
Now, would the library say, okay, well, we want to roll
yeah.
over ours, the fire departments want to say.
It
"I
wouldn't
wanna
be the
roll over
library,
ours."
the fire departments. I give them that money in its entirety. It becomes theirs the second you give them.
Okay.
They're outside arms. But I'd be concerned about every conservation saying, oh, wait, we have $80 left. I want to roll that over. Or DPW, you can't start breaking out all of your
Yeah,
general
that would be my concern.
fund account balances and
Yeah.
having different department heads say, I want to roll that over. It's really a bad habit. That said, they are an outside agency. It is somewhat different. So it would almost be not an operating budget. I would consider it like similar to a stipend, like you do to your other outside agencies. So it
Mm,
wouldn't be, we're gonna fund your operating expenses. They would say, this is what we need to survive, and you would give them that money.
And that's it. And they do.
And
it
they
for-
would run off of that money,
Mm.
not like if they had a surplus from that, we'd keep it, not a, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
just like you do for the other agencies, you would give them, if they said they needed 25,000 and that's what you budgeted, you would give them that 25,000.
And I also understand Linda's concern about a council.
Oh, I 100, I've been
Change.
through several councils and
Yes.
mhm.
Yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
do see the difference. It's just, like I said, in reference, they're a separate arm of and they have a fund balance. It's 30% of what you have
Mhm.
for the entire town
Right.
to operate as for petty cash. So it's just something to consider.
And of the monies that we do have, the reason we're secure now with the
dam.
dam is because at least half of that is going to be used to put in whatever system DE
Mhm.
is saying needs to be added.
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll cost at least half of that, maybe 300,000.
That just makes me sick. We should-
I
But,
know.
you know,
That just,
Yeah.
I know.
it's
That was.
it's been that way for
I
40,
know.
50 years. We've
I
only
know,
owned it
I know.
since
We're not, I'm not gonna
2015,
get
but-
into that discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
Linda, one more question
Yes.
from me. Is it customary and available, is there available an entity, organization, or group that will help you with grants and volunteerism for the trails and the property? So you don't have to bear the weight as a group yourselves.
Yes, but not totally. There are lots of volunteer organizations that can come and help. There's the Rhode Island Land Trust Council that provides help with searching for lawyers, attorneys, or back office support. But it's all grants, kind of grants that you have to apply for.
How about maintenance for the trails and upkeep?
Yeah, well, we've been doing most of that
I know
ourselves,
that, but you
but
did say you were aging off and you might have to turn to contractors soon. What's available from entities outside of Forster?
well, I'm not quite sure exactly. It would take some research, but what's happening is because the forest is changing, we're getting a lot more grass growing up on trails that used to be either leaf or pine needle covered. So now we're getting a lot of grass, so to keep the trails clear, it involves a lot of mowing.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Linda, you.
anything else?
Linda Ryder,
Okay.
you've been waiting patient, Lynn. You've been everybody's name tonight.
There was anybody else from that?
No. Name and address. Thank you, Linda.
I just wanted to say, I think giving the land trust an operating budget would be the beginning of the demise of the land trust. Because there is, a good sized faction in town that believes that the land trust has too much land, that they're, taking it off the tax rolls willy-nilly, when in fact, I know the number is old and it might have grown a little bit, but the land trust from the last paper I had only purchased itself
Mhm.
17.9 acres.
Mr. Carpenter provided
Right.
that to
Mhm.
at the. financial-
So, they're not spending the money that way willy-nilly doing that. And let's face it, land trust would be the low-hanging fruit in a town that wants to build up population or whatever. That means land.
Mhm.
And if we look at the Camoin
Yep,
proposal, again and again, they mention how the land trust and our land is an asset and it should be built upon. Not only just, maintain the trails, extend the trails, turn them into something besides just walking trails,
Right.
be it the bike trails or whatever. That's going to take, never mind the aging out thing. It's just going to take a lot more money and a lot more work.
and I don't,
Right. And
Lynn, nobody here wants to demise the land trust. We're just trying to look at something that we can do to come to a mutual agreement so we can stay afloat and they can continue.
well, if they came up with something, say, they can live with $45,000 a year and you take whatever is left. But not one of these, like, maybe 1 year, if you do 50-50.
It's
A
gonna
bad
be a
year, they
chart-
could end up with 15,000.
So it is something that we're gonna discuss for the charter, and they came tonight. We've given some different proposals. they're gonna go back and talk about it Tuesday night and come back on the 23rd, and we can further discuss it.
Yeah, because
But we
they're
have
not making
options.
any more land. And people pretty
We-
soon, when they see how much land is going for, many will be disinclined to give it away. The old timers who were,
Mhm.
wanted to
It's true.
preserve it because
Yep.
it was their land, you know, whatever.
Children will take it.
Yeah, of course they will. And divvy it up.
Thank you, Lynn. Yep, come right up, Mrs. Rao.
Okay, do I have to give my name?
You're good.
Okay. All right. The thing is this, we are in the watershed now. Since we are in the watershed, all this talk has to be lined up with the watershed regulations. And theoretically, in my opinion, we should be getting paid from the watershed people beneficiaries.
Mrs. Rao, we would all agree with you.
Who is in charge of that?
Who's in charge of Providence Water?
Mhm, State of Rhode Island, yeah,
Are you
Providence
in
Water.
charge?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I went there, how that comes about, okay. No, that is very important because
Yes,
this
we
is
would,
the watershed for the whole state of Rhode Island.
yes, we would
And
agree.
it should be 500 plus acres or whatever that is, because I don't like to give up 10 acres because there is a water going to, there are 2 streams going to my property. So nobody can build on it.
Right.
And that is going to be protected as long as I live.
Yep.
And I don't know, they don't take care of it, but they are aware of it, I hope. And please, we need to get paid for the water that state gets.
It would be wonderful, Ms. Rao. Thank you. So,
No,
so,
I,
thank you, Mrs. Rao. So, you have a fair enough discussion, Linda, to go back and talk? Are there any other ideas that you have that we should talk about?
I was sitting here thinking about utilizing getting some help and some ideas to utilize the trails and the property that's been obtained for something other than just sitting there. I'm thinking like maybe annual pedal bike races, any kind of partnership with any kind of institutions that bring in people that can use the property and pay a fee. I'm just trying to think of how to generate income that will
A
sustain
trail
you
race.
forever.
Trail races are very
Yeah,
popular.
There's got to
But
be
that's-
something, Linda, where
But I think
people-
that's a different conversation than
Yeah,
tonight.
okay,
We're
fair enough.
looking at charter review. That
Right,
was
and,
my-
and we do try to partner with the libraries, with recreation department to do other things. We generally try to have, we don't charge a fee unless whatever we have is charging us. But there have been different lots and things, but we actually would like to do more of that because we want to have a better promotions. There are still people in town who don't
Exactly.
utilize the land trust.
Right.
So we just want a lot
Well,
more
yeah.
PR.
Yeah, you need
So-
to remove,
Right.
we need to move outside of Forster.
Right.
Because if what you're saying and Ms. Ryder is saying, if land is a premium and we're not making it anymore, then
Mhm.
maybe people will pay to come and use yours.
Yeah, or even just that it's available and they
Right.
come and use it, I'd be happy with that too.
So we'd
but
be happy
you're
with them
right.
paying. Thank you.
So basically, Linda, we have that, to give a stipend. We have to give, come up with a dollar amount that would be given to you yearly. We have a percentage of what you get for, the land conveyance taxes. So there are at least 3 there that can go back for discussion and come back on the 23rd.
Nobody, you don't have any others that.
I
know that there were.
I don't think of any. If you guys think of some, bring them back.
some up, Linda.
Bring them back, okay? Thank you, Linda. Next is the charter amendments, and we had discussed those last. I don't know if you want to continue and wait until the land trust, or, because we had talked about there being only, that we only wanted to do like 4 or 5. So we had talked about, the ones that the planning department had passed on. They had planned, about the planning official having a 3-year contract. Oh, excuse me. They had talked about, the state, the one to follow state law, which was Article 9, planning and zoning. And, then there was the one for, the zoning board of review shall be amended. So that again is going along. Am I correct, Grant? That last one is also following state law?
Yes, section 9.01 and 9.03 are both proposed.
So would, I guess, Mark, would that have to be part of our charter change if it's gonna be state law?
I would think so, you just probably do that, and, if you have an ordinance for that stuff, you do it that way. I don't know how that's set up. I don't know how that's set up. What the planning board is choosing to change, I don't know how that's set up. Is that set up through an ordinance
So
or through the charter?
the charter would be amended to be consistent with the code of
So we'd have to
ordinances.
do. So those were 3 that we had thought we would need to do. Thank you, Grant. And then, we had talked about increasing from 2% to 4%, the, capital transfer. So those were 4, and then the land conveyance tax would have been our 5th. Were there any others that you thought might need looking at?
I mean, we know what happens when you put too many.
That's why I
They
said-
all fail. so
Right, so that's why
the
we
most
thought 4 or
important-
5.
The most important ones, yeah.
So that's why I was wondering if just the 2 that the planning board, if we could have done that and just had 3 on.
One with explanations.
Yeah.
Those two.
Yes,
Out of
Right.
curiosity, do we get to order them? The place
on the, yes,
for the ballot?
yes,
So we could put capital, for example, or
Right.
something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
we can order it.
Mhm.
And then I also thought that we should really push the PR on these,
Absolutely.
educate people with what it means, and maybe doing something on the website, sending out an email blast, putting something on Foster Home Journal,
The
just so
last
that,
time we had a significant number pass. I don't know if you were on it. You might have been.
yes,
Remember, we had that chart that went out to everybody that had what the changes were
yep,
and what
It's right
they
there.
meant, right?
Mhm.
And we
Right.
sent that to every household. There was a year
Right.
we sent it to every household.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think if you really want it to pass or really want to get it out there, you almost have to, you have to do it.
You
Yeah.
gotta promote.
And as a person who
So-
just did that for the homestead, it's probably about $1,200 between the postage and the supplies to do it.
okay. So do we agree that those would be the 5 that we would look at?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So then we can discuss how to move forward with that, whether we do.
When
an
we get the
email.
land trust.
Right.
Yeah.
When we know what the land trust, et
Okay.
cetera. All right, at this time, I'm looking, Grant, you're sitting around waiting for number 8 on the new business to move up.
Yes.
That's the, so I would take at this time.
I'll make a
to
motion.
move-
I'll make a motion to move item number 8, town planners request for compensation to this point in the meeting.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So Grant, you submitted a letter and we had talked about it in the past. Grant has done quite a bit of work on his own time in regards to the ordinances. And I believe Mrs. Dillon had, we had put monies aside.
So we-
But for this compensation,
To have an outside
No,
agency do it.
Right.
We decided to designate $20,000, 10 from both 10 each from contingency for this purpose.
that was when Mr. Antonellis was on.
Yes.
We would, yes.
We spent the contingency that we have budgeted this year, but we have a carryover of contingency funds that we've done through the financial town meeting of about $50,000. So we decided to earmark 20 of that for this purpose. Okay,
Okay.
that's where it would come from.
So Grant did the work that we otherwise would have hired an outside agency and
Right.
paid them $10,000.
If you recall, Mr. Antonellis was
I
not
do.
thrilled with going through and
I do.
it seems to be Grant's
Mhm.
forte.
Yeah.
So unless you could, unless you said that this wasn't complete or the project wasn't complete in the way that we would still need to hire that person, then that funding is there and available for him. And as I know, as the other person who leaves late and whatever that, and looks through payroll, his hours were astronomical during this process.
So we do have the request here for, from Grant, looking for compensation for that. So what is the pleasure of the council? So you had said, Kelly, how much? I'm reading.
I guess there was 20,000 at some point that was earmarked, but
Yeah.
only the zoning and subdivision ordinances have been updated at this point.
Yeah.
The-
So looking in the
Yeah.
future, that other 10,000.
Yeah, I'm just
Would
not
be-
requesting it because I haven't done the work yet.
So, okay, so what is the pleasure of the council? Compensate,
I just lost the whole thing, right out of my head.
compensate,
Compensate Grant for all the work he has done for, ordinances. $1,000 that, was earmarked.
and
Kelly, do we need to call that a bonus or a stipend? Or how do we? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, good. I just didn't know if we needed to clarify in
think
the
that-
motion.
right,
Yeah.
Right.
But the check will
Okay.
come to the town, he'll get
Yep.
taxes taken.
Yep.
So that's.
right.
Okay.
So, okay, any further discussion? I will say well deserved,
Mhm.
honestly.
A lot of
Has
hours.
Brought us up to date. We're not so far behind, so thank you.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
this is the least we can do for you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Grant. Have a nice weekend.
Take care, Grant. Get to work.
Okay, so next, we have, I'm looking at the agenda here.
Memorial Day. Busing
Oh, it's, okay, I see what happened. Two got
Oh.
combined together.
on yours?
Yeah,
Oh, did you print that off your computer? Oh, all
Yeah.
right. Okay, that's why.
okay. Now it says the same thing. Memorial Day Parade. Tammy's not here. So the Memorial Day Parade, we have met with, thank you for coming tonight.
Bye.
We have, I have met with, the American Legion. I have met with, the bands from the middle school and the high school, along with Tammy from Recreation. We have booked 4 buses. 2 would be paid for by
Gloucester.
Gloucester and 2 would be paid for by Foster. We have also put out feelers for various groups to march in the parade because when we met to discuss this, the bands felt that their being back to back
Mhm.
wasn't productive, that
Mhm.
they were playing over each other.
Mhm.
So they would like to have people in between.
Yep.
So we have a couple of Boy Scouts, we have some 4-H group, I think it is. There's a couple of groups that we've gotten so that we can stagger them in between. Did you ask that?
I asked her, she never answered me.
Denise, can I ask, what is the cost of the 2 buses?
Did we,
I thought,
Kelly, did we
wasn't it
get-
like $800 last year or
it-
something?
it's a little bit more this year.
And
Did you get the bill yet? Okay.
Awesome.
do we have any idea of what it's gonna be?
I do.
Okay, is that in recreation? Okay.
I'm trying to think, I don't have.
We-
myself-
I mean, if it's already in the budget for that purpose, do we even need a motion for this?
Well, I just wanted people to know. that
Oh, okay, so it
we're
was just like
taking
an
money
update? Okay.
out.
Yeah, okay.
So that we
No,
know.
I didn't think
I
so.
don't think we need, but that at least, and if there's any group that would like to march in the parade, please either reach out to me or to Tammy. And hopefully it begins at the intersection of North Road and Foster Center. We're hoping that you will be able to blink and you won't miss it now. We're making it bigger. So if you know anybody or know of any youth groups, that was the other thing I was thinking we could kind of brainstorm. I was going to reach out to Payne School, see if they had a chorus that might want to join, or if they had some sort of gardening group or something that might want to march in it. So, a dance group, they have those after-school activities. So, all right, that being said, I guess there's a multi-purpose community facility projects municipal grant fund. It wasn't highlighted. Well, I'm sorry.
Number 7.
No, it's a lot
Yeah, that's,
on my,
it's the memorandum of understanding. That's
no,
what
that's a multi-purpose community.
Yeah.
yeah, it's in,
MOU, it says.
she.
But I think there's two different MOUs. I thought we did that last time, right? There's just one.
No,
Okay.
what
So
was
it's listed on here. I'm looking,
Mhm.
mine is different, I guess. So-
I updated it when you gave it to me,
Right.
and I updated the agenda, so it would reflect that.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, it's in.
So the
Shortside.
multi-purpose community facility project was done the last time. So it's not on this one. Thank you.
What? No.
See,
it-
no, this is a different one. This is a memorandum for energy
That's for the
efficiency.
windows,
Right.
right? So we're talking
So
about,
we already did that.
We did this one that is listed. See on mine, it's listed Memorial Day. Okay, that's what I thought.
That was last week.
Okay. Okay, let's move on.
okay,
The food truck event is on for the 23rd, not today. So don't worry about that one. And next, look at how quick we're going.
June 23rd.
May 23rd, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
oh, May
Is-
20. I saw
May
he,
23rd is on for the food trucks.
he
It wasn't
advertised
supposed-
them. I saw that on social media.
Did he?
Yep.
Okay,
I thought it was June.
town council meetings. I would really, that's okay. I would really like to have only one meeting a month in the month of, during the summer. We've tried that in the past and it's ended up being like 3 meetings a month.
We can plan, and then if we have to add meetings, we just add them like we always have, right?
So,
The
right.
First Tuesday of the month.
I won't be here.
I
Yeah,
know.
July 11th, I won't be here. So if
Okay,
we do that
so-
one, I won't.
Let's look at the month of June. So we've got the 13th or the 27th. Mm-hmm.
The 27th, to avoid having 2 meetings anyway, you have to pick the 13th. Because if you pick the 27th, you won't be able to adopt the percentage for the homestead exemption.
Okay.
The
So we have to
27th
do
would be
the
too late. or
the
20th.
13th
Mhm.
for June.
Can you actually add that to your future agenda items as well while I'm thinking of it? For that
You
meeting?
want it on the June meeting,
Yes, thank you.
the adoption
that
of, what is it called?
It's the approval of the percentage that we're going to use as an exemption for the homestead exemption. That's part of the ordinance is that the council would,
Okay. Approval of the percentage?
yes,
Okay,
of the exact exemption, yes.
okay. So now let's look at July. July is the 11th or the 25th.
I think if we go to the 25th, that's like 6 weeks, right?
Right,
I
so
think
the
that's too
11th.
long. I won't be
Um,
here on the 11th,
I
just,
will not either.
Oh.
So there's still a quorum.
Yep.
So
or I was just gonna say, how about the 18th?
we could. Does that work?
I'm available then.
I am too. Okay. And then August, it is the 8th or the 22nd.
Again, I think going to the 22nd is leaving too many weeks in between. That's just my
Can everybody
feeling.
do the 8th?
I think so.
Okay. We don't need a motion, do we?
Yeah, you do.
Oh,
That leaves, that leaves, 5 weeks for the next council meeting in September, so would we compromise and go, would that make it better? Give a holiday.
Yeah.
No, 15th is open of August. From my time.
I don't think that's a holiday.
That'll be a bad week for my office, I think.
Okay,
Because that's what's kind of be responsive to this, so I have.
Yeah.
to have
Oh, yeah.
Staff there.
okay.
I mean, you can do it without us, if it's not a bad agenda.
Well, and if we have something,
We can mess it up, Mark. Maybe work. We can-
and if something comes up that we need to address,
Right.
we just have another meeting.
So if we have it, let's stay with the 8th. And then if we need to go earlier in September, then we go earlier in September. Does
Okay.
that work?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll make
So-
a motion to hold the summer council meetings, one meeting per month for June 13th, July 18th, and August 8th.
Second.
July what? Thank you.
no, July
No.
18th.
It's okay.
13th.
Okay, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And I'm holding you to it.
Little wins.
Okay, so next we have the construction that we had last time, but David was gonna meet with George
Hmm.
to get explanations about that.
So, yeah,
So go ahead.
I met with George, so it was, the fees went up commensurate with reasonable, equal, town population and size. So George is made a proposal to change, you're gonna see on your form, new permit fee applications up to 2,000 square foot building. Basic, permit fee is $150, 2,000 to 3,000 square feet is 175. Over 3,000 is 200. The basic fee is gonna be $75, but that will be assigned by the building official's office. Plan review, less than 3,000 square foot structure is $100. Over 3,000 square foot is $150. And so on and so forth. It's all self-explanatory all the way down. But just bear in mind that electrical permitting has gone up. It's a different fee. It was $50, now it's 75. Its plumbing has gone up from $50 to 75, and so is mechanical. And these increases are there and necessary to keep up with the costs of the town doing business with payroll and administrative fees and things and paper and ink. So we haven't had raises in the permitting fee in a while that I can remember. So I don't remember, it's been a long time. So this was George's idea because George, what he did for us last year and the year before was when he was here temporarily was he carried over his fee structure from Situate, because Situate's a comparable town. And he got here and we talked about it last year that this needed to be on the agenda because it was just bizarre how little we were charging and how much we've been paying for help and for paper and for time.
Well, I know what we're paying the plumber and the electrician has gone up.
Exactly. And our
So-
fee structure has never gone up to compensate.
So we're,
Yeah, it's very nominal increase over the last 10 years. Very
So-
small percentage.
So I think my question was, the last time, was down at the second part of this,
Mhm.
Yeah,
was it's $75 plus $8 every 1,000 square feet.
right.
Or is it every 1,000 square feet
Or
or
is that-
every $1,000 in value? That's where I was
it wouldn't
confused.
be every $1,000 in value because.
Okay.
Right, because a building permit for a 3,000 square foot home would be 14 or $140,000 or whatever.
All my point is we need to clarify that,
Well,
Mhm.
okay,
that it's
So
a
at
dollar
square
amount
feet.
or square feet.
All right, so
Yeah.
$8 per
Right.
1,000
It's-
square feet. Is that what you're saying?
yeah,
Right.
and it does say it down below, it says total square foot area, so it does say structure, yeah. So it is, okay, but Stoney makes a good point, because we
Mm,
don't want it to
just
be,
with-
if George leaves, we don't
We're
want. there
trying to
be any
clarify
question.
all this other stuff, so let's,
By and an explanation at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, as long as it's got an asterisk
Yeah.
at some side of it.
No, I agreed, Stoney, good point.
So
Yeah,
it's
the
not
sys-
$1,000,
It's not.
$1,000, it's per square.
Per
Oh,
square
yeah,
foot.
But
but
that's-
the police station permit would be how much?
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah. I know, but
We know it's not that, but Stoney brings.
it just, reading it, it's,
They understand it, and then these fees will be inputted into our
They're
system.
all automatic.
Mhm.
That's how it, that's what they're.
So how does the town get to know that they've gone up?
when they apply.
When
When they apply, they'll know.
the bill, so.
They go to apply.
Well, you know,
Well-
and that's a really fair point, but. if
Can't
you-
we advertise
I
that?
know.
Well, the
Shouldn't
town,
we
we
know?
put
it will
something
be
out on the
on.
website
will-
saying-
Bigger than this.
It is,
Our
it,
meetings are all up.
this, the fee structure
Is
is
on the
available to the
website.
contractor. But
And-
when Stoney, when
Listen,
Stoney's a contractor all over the
The
state and he comes to
contractor is
Foster,
not the person that's gonna care,
okay,
Right.
fair enough,
because he's passing that fee
Right.
right?
It's the, yeah,
to the project.
yeah,
Fair
but
enough.
don't you do your homework when you, I know when I was building.
I don't
It's
think
still,
they care.
let me say this though, Stoney, that,
I did
Stoney,
my
that's a,
homework.
that's a fair point. But I talked to George and sat with George twice, and he said to me, this is still lower than everybody else.
So David,
I'm good with it.
if there was, so say the main floor, I'm just trying to
Yeah, there was
calculate
other
this.
questions we had. about
I,
the-
yeah, if it was
wasn't-
if it was
yeah.
a main floor, the old rate was 60
And now it's 95.
and now it's 95. So is that, before it would have cost 1,720 and under the new rate, it would be 1,140. Is that sound about right?
If it
I mean, it's
does,
like
it-
30%
it does.
about,
If you think so, it does, it makes sense.
okay.
George did tell me yesterday, was it yesterday, Denise?
Yes.
The days are running into each other.
So,
He did say to me that even though the fee went up a reasonable amount, it's still considerably less than everybody else, and he thought it could even go up even more. And I said, well, let's revisit that another time, like next year. Let's see how it goes. Let's revisit that. We don't want to make a jump that's so huge at one time that, you know,
Mm.
we get a lot of bad press.
Well, I just get nervous in the economy today and,
Right.
you know, with the
Well,
housing that
okay,
we're trying to get.
But
it's
here's the
just-
thing, here's the.
I understand
Well,
what you were
well,
saying.
listen,
Mhm.
let's understand this. If a house today cost $100,000 more to build the same house this year than 3 years ago, and the construction costs, labor has gone up 30%, 40%, as we saw with the police station. These permits haven't changed in years. It's pennies compared to the amount of money our residents are giving away to contractors.
Mhm.
It's pennies. I know the cost will be deferred and it will trickle back to the owner of the property, but there's nothing we can do because salaries and administrative costs have gone up. There's just nothing we can do about it.
Mm.
We can't operate at the
Okay.
same old rates.
So what's the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion that we accept this table as George has devised and going forward.
second,
Set these principles.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, we have a letter of resignation from Jamie Krasinski. She's actually asked to resign, but wants to be liaison between the rec and rescue. So
I'll make a motion to, I mean, we haven't had an official liaison to recreation.
no, she
before.
just, I'm not sure. which-
I'm not,
just
because
accept her-
all right, I'm gonna make a motion to accept
her
Jamie
resignation.
Brzezinski's resignation from the Recreation Committee with regret.
Second.
Yes, Tammy did say there's really not a liaison, but he at
Right.
least has somebody for bright nights. that
Yeah, I
you
just
reach
didn't
out
want to
us.
include anything in the
Right,
motion that
that we
wasn't
don't.
proper. Yep.
So, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that is with regrets. We do have a letter of intent for recreation, and it's from Casey Lynn, who is also known as Casey, better known as Casey, I think. She's attended a couple of the recreation
Mhm.
meetings and is quite excited. But would you like to read it?
Yeah.
Yes, because she wrote a very.
To whom it may concern, I write this letter with the intent to join our local recreation committee. I understand at this time a position is open and I would like to be considered. I feel as though I would be a great candidate for this position in the following ways. I am extremely organized and punctual, have great communication and people skills. I excel under pressure. I'm a great problem solver. I have experience in high volume events and functions, purchasing and budgeting for said events, providing precise documents, detailed notes for record keeping. I have computer promotion skills and contacts to help build our events.
You want to be town council? I already asked her, she said no.
I just said that the wrong.
I also care for our community and the activities, events, and sports that the committee provides. I enjoy planning and seeing ideas come to fruition, and I'd love to be part of that for our community. I have 3 children, ages 5, 7, and 2.
15.
15, sorry, 7 and 2, that are in multiple school sports and will be for the next 15 years. This to me ensures a long-term commitment and dedication to our town to want to make the best choices for our children growing up here, to be a part of a group ensuring our children have a good childhood and memories. And to me, that's the recreation committee. That's what the recreation committee is. Our children's memories, their friends, family time, and a community coming together. I hope you will consider myself in joining. I'd be a great asset in addition to an amazing division that makes up such a huge part of our great town. Best regards, Casey Lynn Morado.
Casey is a waitress at Shady's and
Oh,
she's been really excited.
Yeah.
about it.
Know who she is.
Yes, yes, yes.
I make a motion to appoint Casey Lynn Norado to the Recreation Committee.
Second. Think that was it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I will let her know tomorrow night. She'll be so excited. I did ask her if she wanted to be on the council.
I did,
Mhm.
too. Now that I know who it is, I did too.
Moving on, we have the memorandum of understanding. If you recall, Mr. Rogers had discussed this, that he had gotten a grant to get the windows for the townhouse.
Town
Town
Hall.
hall. New windows for the town hall, and it is here. So
Yeah,
do we need to read the whole thing, or can we just, okay,
You need to summarize it. and then just-
Yeah.
go ahead, Heidi. You're
Oh,
more
it's,
familiar with it.
it's, well, the amount is $10,288.55. And there's no match or anything. It's just a 100% grant. And it's used for energy efficiency and will be used to replace windows in the town hall and not all of them. That will take another round next year. Oh, when they had a second round this time, but they didn't have enough, so.
Yep. What is the pleasure of the council? We're looking for permission for me to sign the agreement.
I make a motion, we agree to allow Chairwoman DeFranco to sign the agreement to transfer funds from the RGGI allocation plan, energy efficiency and conservation block grant.
Second.
Discussion. I don't think it's transfer of funds.
I don't either.
I thought
It's
it
that,
said-
it's to accept the funds,
It's so they, right, so they can allocate them to us.
right?
So change that to accept funds.
Accept. the
So
fund
noted.
balance.
Except the funds in.
Right, no match, so. Mrs. Dillon, do you have one for me to sign, or do you want me to sign this one?
No, I think.
Yeah.
We need,
Yes.
right, we need to get that back to them like ASAP because
Okay.
they're meeting.
All right, so, Mrs. Dillon can send it on.
So do you have Nathan's email address that this needs to go back to?
I do. Yes, I can.
Okay.
Okay. Um, So we need to vote. Yes, a motion has been made. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. So
I have one.
I do. Thank you. All right. And we're going to move on to the town plan, town council meetings, live stream versus Zoom. So there's been discussion regarding that. Mrs. Ryder had discussed that. I had asked Julia, and she passed it on to Mark to discuss to what legalities of it, where we stand. If I recall, when we were talking about putting this system in place during, with the opera money, we had thought it would be live streamed and not Zoom. In the beginning, it had been posted as a Zoom meeting, but we went back and looked in the minutes and that we had voted for a live stream. So that's where I thought we were. And I asked Mr. Torgy to let us know what we needed to do legally.
Well, you did what you needed to do. I mean, you can vote to either have it in person like we are right now, or in live stream, which you voted to do, or you can have a hybrid where you can have, like we did during COVID. And like, only thing different is you guys would be here and they'd be on TV. The AG's office does not require the meetings to be one way or the other. Every town or city can choose how they want to do it. Like my town, we don't do anything. If you show up, you show up, but there's no video for later. There's no hybrid
you're cheap.
or live streams. It's
That's
whatever.
because you're cheap.
But so the AG's office does not give any indication one way or the other. It's whatever each community would so choose to do. You voted to go just by live stream. So, you know, if that's what you want to continue to do, then that's what you do.
Mark, may I ask you a question? If we went Zoom where people could
Yeah.
would comment or whatever, are we able to shut them off if they're like the last time that happened?
No, I mean, if they get out of hand. you can
Excuse me,
certainly
Mrs.
shut them
Dillon.
off.
Well, like for Linda Tibbet, she ended up having to come over here to be able to speak to us
I can
about
see
that.
because there is, Supreme Court, a decision that anyone can attend a meeting. You don't have to be a town resident. Anyone can be on Zoom across the state or across the country and start talking. That's why they're getting out of hand.
Mhm.
And that's a major concern. That's why some people just video the meetings and then you go on whatever the interconnect on. Couldn't even watch them that one. But yeah, you can certainly cut people off if they're being rude or disrespectful or.
Off topic or something.
topic or-
So without being penalized or
Well,
sued
I
or
mean,
what?
yeah, I mean, you know, that's always a fine line, right? But I mean, if they're spewing hate, like I guess was going on the last time, or things of that nature, you automatically do.
Mhm.
Or if they're off topic, or if, like, so many times, and not only this, but others, towns, like they're sitting there drinking during COVID and then get on and want to talk and they're, you know.
Yeah.
Inebriated, I mean, that's that, but then there's also that fine line of like, you know, you're gonna make sure you're doing the right thing. So it can become unwieldy because the amount of people that might be on, I mean, we had no choice during COVID,
Mhm.
you know, like that, but. I mean, it's up to you guys. I mean, you're the bosses, you five, but
I
I
will,
can only tell you that the AG's office does not require any town or city to do that. That's at the, you know, wherewithal of each individual council.
Okay.
But the next council can come in and just say, no, I just want to come, everyone has to come show up
Right.
in person or
Right.
Right.
that.
I will say, and Cheryl and I had talked about it previously, that one night we could not hear the people, but people on Zoom could hear the hate that they were spewing. I also got the next day an email from the gentleman, one of the gentlemen representing the three, suing
Mhm.
that he was going to sue and you're gonna pay big money. I
Mhm.
forwarded it to Julia, but I mean, he sent me 2 emails saying, you will let us speak. And you can't shut me down and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And
So I
we're
see
gonna
what
be
you're
sued.
saying, it's a fine line, Mark.
Well,
If you allow people to talk and you shut down individuals, then you're liable potentially.
Well, I mean, like, hey, listen, anyone can sue anyone, right? It
Yeah.
depends on how far it's gonna go.
Could we just have one conversation, please? Thank
So-
you.
I mean, that's the issue you're gonna have. You're gonna.
Referee.
Well, yeah, not only that, but I mean, you could get set up just because they want, I don't mean this town, could be any town.
Right.
You could get set up like happens sometimes.
Landmark
schools and
base.
Things like that. They don't like something going on, like say Cranston West or East several years ago with
Statute.
you know, and that was, you know, done for a reason, and so you could have that just to show, you know, gonna get a small town, right, like, you know, and go after you, figuring that, you know, maybe you'll give in, or it's gonna cost you a lot of money and you give up, like,
Yeah.
defending it. And they're gonna sue you in federal court, they're not gonna sue you in state.
They go right to the ACLU.
Yeah, right, yeah, and then, and that's always an issue, because with that gang, you pay their legal fees if they prevail. And they only take cases and everything, they don't take every case that comes across. Well, yeah, so anyone, that's the problem you face, right, you're gonna, that guy probably not watch, you know, I'll say this, and then Monday we'll get.
Right.
That's always happens.
Well,
But,
I would
mean,
have-
You know, you don't know.
I would have a suggestion. I've been thinking about it, Denise, how that they could input something. There's a place in there for them to send in questions. Is that correct? So they could send in a question and our gentleman over here could say, we have some questions. We can say, who are they from and what are they
I
on a particular
think that's
topic?
about
I
it.
don't
I've
know.
seen people lie.
I just, I don't know if you can, I don't know if that, listen, you know. I don't know if that would be considered restrictive speech, you know, you're restricting speech. These are all issues that would have to be litigated in
Vetted
court,
out,
right?
yeah.
Right.
And so I think you either have to be all in or all out, you either gotta let it go, free
Okay,
flow
I'm
and
just
see
trying to
what
cover
happens.
everything and get it answered, so they hear it.
Right.
Yeah.
But let anyone speak, and then you're gonna have to be quick on the switch if something happens, but I don't think you can, you know, say, okay, you gotta input your questions first, and then we'll choose which one we're gonna.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, no, yeah,
That's
okay.
not gonna work.
No, see, this is
And-
what I want
yeah.
out there.
And
Mhm.
I think, you know, honestly, we voted for live stream.
Mm,
We said we
did.
would put the money through to do live stream. So,
Never an
I think
interactive
that's
session.
right. So I think that, and as Mrs. Tibbet did, she came right down right away and spoke her piece. So.
Good thing we're
I
a
thi-
small town, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think,
She's very fast driver.
I think that if someone's interested enough, and we've seen it where people see the agenda, they're interested, they come.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I think that's important because I think it's important to see the faces and have an interaction, not seeing someone speaking and seeing an agenda
It's
on it.
easy for these
So-
groups to sit in like Colorado and call in and basically bust balls and see if they can get a lawsuit going,
Yeah.
as opposed to getting their fannies in a car and driving down.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna be facing, and I think that you're right, in a small town, the people who wanna come, just like my town, they're gonna show up.
Sure,
Yeah.
You know, it's
always
not
have.
that big.
We
You
saw,
know,
we saw
it's-
the financial town meeting, everyone, it was the largest group we've had in years.
Mm.
And
Police
you know,
station was a
so-
large turnout.
large turnout, so. Mrs. Ryder, I'm gonna be brief because we did vote already.
I don't think anyone other than you knew what live stream meant, that people would not be able to interact. Because I've talked to so many people and they'd say, no, I can't come, like, I've got to stay home and take care of the kids. I've got to take care of my mother. Now you have it at 6 o'clock. People can't get home, feed the
Mhm.
kids and get here. That wipes out a lot of people who would like to participate.
And we've had it at 7 o'clock and we haven't had, I mean, I'm not gonna dispute it. I think live stream is great. People can know what it is. The woman who called me, well, I had 2 people call me today, this week, had live streamed, had viewed it, had reached out to me and voiced their concerns. And that, we're certainly willing to do that.
I don't think that is even remotely the same as being able to participate during a meeting. Another thing is, if that was always your intent, just to have live stream, why didn't you just get a GoPro camera and put it on YouTube? Because you spent all of this money, you've hired someone to sit there. What is the point? I mean, you
Thank
have
you.
just negated the entire point. And as far as public comment, yeah, I get because you're supposed to be able, you know what? Say, all right, public comment has to be submitted in writing. It can be emailed, it can be handed to you at the beginning of a meeting. You read
Good
them, you
suggestions.
mumble over some that maybe whatever. But it isn't that hard when somebody, because I've seen so many times Ron standing up here and he starts to go off and you say, that's it.
Mhm.
So I don't see that being an issue, cutting people off.
I do when I can't hear them. And they're saying things and people on Zoom can, and I can't.
Well,
And
is
we
there
were
a
being so
way
nice.
for
They,
that?
that was just a
Technical problem.
a technical, right. It was it was, well, it was several meetings in, but it was a technical problem. How do we know? We know we have technical problems a
Right,
lot.
but now it's been solved.
Well, at this point, we voted for live stream. That's
Well,
where
and
we
you're
are.
gonna have a lot of upset people.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Does somebody
Moving,
else? No, somebody else want to speak.
Thank you.
your name and address.
Beth Smith, 69 Foster Center Road. I also have a comment related to the live stream versus Zoom. I would like to allow public comment on Zoom and use online meetings instead of streaming. This is the option that best meets the recognizable, beneficial, and non-controversial goal of maximizing public participation in government, which I believe you guys all would like. B is used by several other municipalities in Rhode Island and likely elsewhere, and C promotes and supports, fosters, and all of small town New England's longstanding historic and traditional views on how democracy is supposed to function. Whether it's a comment of Zoom versus live stream, I agree. It could just be live stream, but you can also have written comments. You don't have to allow people to speak out loud or, but you have to state how you want the comments to be participated. I know other town halls allow emails, live emails, comments like that. But just having a very distinct way to submit those comments, I feel is very important.
Thank you. Phil, and when you go by, there's a red file.
You're here.
I'm just gonna keep my comments very brief, okay?
Don't either.
Name, address.
Phil Keith, 18 Bottomville. If we want participation,
Mhm.
one way you can do it is by having Zoom and encouraging people to participate. We had a large turnout, like you said, for the financial meeting. 100 people out of 4,000 people, residents of Foster.
It was
That, to
large.
me, is not a large turnout.
It's a big.
It
is
for
for
us.
us.
Okay, but
If you've ever
math
attended
doesn't-
one.
math doesn't-
How about at the regional school budget? There was 15 people there,
Okay,
including us.
okay, but the one thing you can do is by saying you're not gonna allow people to participate in meetings by having a Zoom. And then you give the clear message that you don't really want them to participate unless they leave work early, leave their children at home to come down here. And that's not convenient for a lot of folks. As far as suits, I would bet if there's more than 5 suits in Rhode Island because someone's suing them because they were cut off during a Zoom meeting, I'd be shocked.
There's probably none, but it's always.
Okay, so there's my point.
I'm not arguing with you, I don't know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that it only takes 1 or 2 lawyers to get on these cases, and that's how it goes. And it could be this town, and it could be those guys that were spewing hate that night. What I'm saying is that that's what we try to, I'm not arguing with them, I don't care what they do.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that as the attorney, I'm just giving them my best advice.
Yeah, well,
I'm not
I have more.
about lawsuits.
Yeah, I have faith in Denise that she can control people on Zoom, just like she does here with people.
Only if I can hear them.
And, well, that was a technical issue and that can be addressed. So I just think that we're going down the wrong path by saying we would prefer that you not participate in meetings. I would say that we would encourage participation.
Thank you. Moving on to executive session.
Okay, which one are we? For Oh, okay. I move to go into executive closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-
We need to be able to
Five.
hear this. Thank you.
for discussions or work sessions regarding collective bargaining, contract negotiations, or litigation according to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A2, and to reconvene in open session, and further to keep the minutes of said meeting closed and the minutes of all executive sessions held previous to this meeting be closed and remain to provisions of the general laws of Rhode Island 42-46-4 and 5.
Second.
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
I'll just go this is basically, this is the opioid litigation. I guess the plaintiffs have figured out.
Wait 1 minute, are we off Zoom? We need to come out of Zoom.
Yeah.
We need to get off.
Lower down. I know.